Hi guys, Glad Dad here again. Let's do something different. I'm here with my friend jaydee. Oh, we gotta zoom out. There we go. And we've got his fun little deck. He's busted his butt to get this like almost max rarity, I believe, right? You're only missing like one card.
One card, and
it's not staples, not counting staples. So don't judge him on the staples. But it's one of the archetypes that came from King's Court, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. I know I opened a couple boxes of those. I think I pulled a collector rare of the Jack's Knight and the Triumph Joker. So let's get into this one. I'm interested because you've gone what? You went 3-1.
I went 3-1 this past week playing this deck. Previously, in other iterations of the build, I went 3-1 another time, and then I went 2-2 when I was playing a variant that was mixing with War Rock. I was just trying to really maximize off the warrior synergy that existed between the two archetypes. Don't play the War Rock variant. So this is Poker Knights, and unlike a lot of the other versions of Poker Knights, this is not an Egyptian God version.
Okay, so you're not playing like the Thunder Speed Fusion and the Slice Through, right?
I'm not doing that. I'm also not doing the full I sold combos that people are playing as well. This version plays a lot of different engines, and you'll kind of see it a lot as the video goes on. But the purpose of this deck is kind of like outvaluing and OTKing, pretty much.
Okay.
So first I'm going to start with the monster lineup.
Alright, so let's...
we're going to be doing 3 Joker's Knights. They are pretty much your main card in the deck. You can summon it from your hand by sending a Poker Knight from deck to grave. Sending is cost. So it's really nice because it's kind of hard to negate, so it's going to get on board no matter what. And then it will copy the name of the thing that you send.
If you ash it, it just stays in hand. I mean, it dumps, but I mean, it still stays in hand. I think, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope. You can't ash him.
Well, you can. It attempts to send to grave. You can activate ash, but it's going to be like ashing Cherubini. It does nothing.
It's like trying to ash Magician's Souls.
Well, yes, I mean, it's like trying it's trying to ash. Well, no, because you can ash like Phantasme. If he attempts to summon, you can ash him because he attempts to draw a card. It's part of that ash's effect.
Yeah, because you attempt to draw a card. You're adding a card. You're not doing that.
That's different. It's like Magician's Souls.
You can't ash Magician's Souls.
Yeah.
God, I'm a terrible player.
So, anyways,
I do play Glad Beast. I wonder where this popularity came from, Austin.
You get ashed on Rabbit.
I do get ashed on Rabbit. That's why I've played Gamma now.
So it copies the name of the thing that you send. Mm-hmm. So if you send a Queen's Knight, it becomes a Queen's Knight. So it synergizes very nicely with the King's Knight to get your Jack. Also, during the end phase, if it's in your graveyard, you can throw a Poker Knight back to deck to bring it back to your hand. So this is essentially a free level 5 body that you can put on board.
It's recurrence too, and it's good recurrence, so it helps you with like the XYZ plays and stuff like that. It allows you to make just toolbox monsters.
And also the grind game, like just constantly throwing.
Just hand advantage, advantage, man. It's just really nice.
So there's that, and then as for the actual Poker Knight lineup, we play 2 Kings, 2 Queens, and 2 Jacks.
Look at all them pretty collector rares too.
We're only playing 2 of each because besides King's Knight, these are bricks. You really don't want to see these in your hand. It really sucks when they end up in your hand. At least with a King's Knight, I can send a Queen's Knight from Joker's Knight to make it a Queen, so I can get that play off, and then have 2 level 5s on board. But other than that, these essentially end up being discard fodder a lot of the time, or sometimes it's just a normal summon. But we play 2 of each. You have to play at minimum 2 because the deck will go through the resources rather quickly.
Rather quickly. And
if you're just playing 1 of each, you'll put everything on board pretty quick, and then after that, everything's kind of dead. So with 2 ofs, you can kind of control what you're throwing back each turn with Joker's Knight and the other cards, and then that way you can kind of keep your playstyle still going.
Like out of a 1 out of like 10, like how many dead hands would you say you get with those, like brick wise?
If I get like one vanilla in hand, that's not the end of the world. If I get 2 or more, then it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
but most of the time you can kind of play defensively. And there's other cards in the deck that kind of help with that consistency issue. Because this deck has a lot of built-in bricks, I was trying to focus on the rest of the deck not having any cards that could be bricks to make it so that situation didn't happen.
Okay, that's fair.
So second engine of the deck is a very, very small Dogmatica engine.
Yep, the one Ecclesia, the one.
So one Ecclesia, one Fleur-de-Lis.
You play Maximus?
No Maximus. Because a lot of people are prepared for Maximus nowadays.
So no shit-all combo then?
Yeah, no shit-all combo.
Okay.
We don't really need it. We're really using Fleur-de-Lis just to search for
just
the
have to have
punishment.
the interruption.
Yeah, to have the interruption and the extra body. In addition, it's a level 4, and we do a lot of level 4s, so in the off turn
And it's a
that you're
light
not
too,
locked.
so you can, you can
Yeah.
still summon it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And also, a lot of the plays that you'll do, you'll end up with I sold right off the bat, so then Ecclesia's just live on top of that. So yeah, just the search and the removal. And then we're going to go into a hand trap lineup. It's a lot of hand traps, just a heads up.
Well, I mean, it's a rogue deck, and it's trying to compete in a meta with, what, Drytron, Prank Kids, and fucking Tri-Brigade. So, I mean, I can understand wanting to play a lot of hand traps right now.
So, we have 3 Ash.
Pretty standard.
Pretty standard. 3 Bell.
Pretty standard.
And
the Gamma package. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good because you can activate your Joker straight. It's an attempt to Ash it, you just Gamma.
Yeah.
And then you have Omega to rip another card from hand.
Can't go into Omega because I tried to use Joker straight.
You lock in. Well, it hasn't resolved yet, though.
But I attempted to activate it.
Yeah, it's still your
Does it still lock you?
Still
okay,
locks
so it's
you.
not like Nadir where it's an after effect. Okay.
So part of the
forgive
reason
me, I've only played against this deck like what, twice?
So part of the reason why I prefer this particular hand trap lineup is that once I get over to the side deck and you see the ratios of the stuff in the side deck, it's very easy to kind of swap stuff out. I think 6 flex cards is ideally the best because you could either swap out 2 play sets or 3 2-ofs, depending on what you're going against. So I really like this. And then also with the side frame package, kind of as he was saying, we do a lot of spells as our starting play to kind of get us started. So the side frames are kind of there to protect that. In addition, this is another package that gets sided out in games 2 and 3, depending on whether you're going first or second. And I'll kind of explain that more once we get over to the side deck. So that's it for the monster lineup so far. Once we get to the spell and trap card lineup, we're using 3 Joker Straights.
Oh, look at these are collector rare too.
So Joker Straight is
Such a pretty collector rare.
a dumb card. So you discard a card, you special summon Queen's Knight, you add a King's Knight to your hand, and then you immediately normal summon a King's Knight, all in the same effect. So then, because you have both of them on board, King's Knight effect goes off in a separate chain, summoning Jack. If you discard 1 card, get 3 bodies on board.
That's pretty good too.
The trade-off is that you are locked out of the extra deck except for Light
I was
Warriors.
gonna say Light Warriors, but there's a lot of pretty good like Light Warrior just toolbox monsters.
Oh
isn't
yeah,
there?
Utopia.
Utopia.
The entire Utopia package is Light Warrior.
Yep.
So yeah, and also much like Joker's Night, if this is in your graveyard during the end phase in general, you throw a Poker Knight back to deck and get this back to hand. So you just keep
look at that recursion. It's just hand advantage, man.
You just do it every turn, and it's great because you can just keep throwing a lot of bodies on board. After that, we run 3 Prosperity because it's really nice to be able to kind of search what you need when you need it. Whether it be searching for particular floodgates or hand traps that you're sighting in. Once we get over to the extra deck, I'll kind of explain how Prosperity works in regards to
what to banish going first, what to banish going second.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, would you have a budget variant for that card? Because that is a pretty fucking expensive card right now.
Unfortunately, Prosperity is there's not really a good substitute for Prosperity right now.
You don't think you can get away with playing Extra?
You can't get away with playing Extra, and you can't get away with playing Desires. So the reason for it is that in this deck, we also run Double or Nothing and the Utopia Double package.
So you can't, Desires.
And so Desires and Extra both inherently conflict with your win con.
Because you'd have to play like triple Double or Nothing, triple Utopia, and triple Lightning just to make sure you had that the double or nothing package.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Prosperity is just really too good right now.
I get it.
So
It's phenomenal.
we play 3 Forbidden Droplets.
No ultis.
So Forbidden Droplet, on top of just being a fantastic card, we get a lot of a spell that bounces back to hand, a monster that bounces back to hand, a trap card.
Yeah,
So
it's all free. It's all free fodder, and the fact that they can't respond to the droplet is too good to main deck.
yeah, like you can actually cover your bases of like no monster spell or trap responses.
It's too good not to main deck, I should say. Yeah,
Yes.
It's
So
too good.
also there are times where you end up throwing a lot of your Poker Knights to grave really fast, and you need to get your stuff back and shuffling back to deck. And Droplets is one of those cards to get them into the graveyard during the opponent's turn, so they're bouncing back to their hand.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's fair.
so it helps. For resource management as well.
It's really good.
Some people have tinkered with using Book of Lunar Eclipse and the Dinomischus as substitutes for Droplets. Those are equally both pretty good. I would do the Dinomischus.
Dino, yeah. I don't care about the Lunar really.
The Dinomischus is typically ran in a package that runs the Lilith, the Lair Lilith girl.
The trap kind of heavy variant.
Yeah. So then we have 3 Nadir because we played Dogmatica.
Yeah. You do not have to play the Dogmatica package. It's just his personal preference.
It's
It's
just
really good
extra.
going second too. It's just a solid like board breaking strategy.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a very good engine.
And then the one-ofs in the spell lineup, Rhoda to search your King's Knight,
Collector rare.
Double or Nothing for the win
Not
con,
collector rare. No, I'm just kidding. Doesn't even come collector rare.
and then Instant Fusion.
Is that a common?
So yeah, it's a common. I think that's actually the first common that I've showed.
I think it's the only common you showed, right? Because even your normal monsters are collector rares.
Yeah,
Even your gammas
so
are
this
rares.
is the only common card in my deck right now.
I know. I just upgraded mine to an ultra, so don't feel bad.
So I'll kind of get to Instant Fusion in a bit once I get over to the extra deck, but this is a really spicy tech that I experimented with, and it ended up being
works.
successful.
It works. Yes, it's funny. I like that tech. You'll have to like reveal that combo at the end.
So the trap lineup is a very small trap lineup. 2 punishments, super rares, and they're mainly getting searched off your Ecclesia. And then 2 Joker's Wild. This is the other dumb card that came out of King's Court.
But it's not a collector rare.
It's not a collector's rare. I really wish this got a collector rare.
Was there other? What about their other trap card? Didn't they get another one like called Court of Cards?
Yeah, bad card.
Is it
It's a
bad?
bad card.
Bad card. Okay. Don't play Court of Cards, guys. It's bad.
So what Joker's Wild does is that during the main phase of the battle phase, you can send a spell from your deck to graveyard, sending its cost, and that lists
Pay
all
them
3 of the
bills.
Poker Knights on it, and this card's effect becomes that effect.
So it's an anaconda. It's
Yeah,
a
it's an
Predaplant anaconda.
But it's an anaconda for Joker straight, which is dumb.
That's pretty dumb.
Like
It's 2 extra copies of Jokers on your opponent's turn.
during the opponent's turn, end of battle phase, and I know you're already done. Sweet, Joker's Wild. Let me get 3 buys, and I'm gonna swing at you.
You
next
can
turn.
ash it though, correct? Because it does attempt to send from deck.
And I believe sending is still cost.
Is it cost on that card as well?
It's cost as well.
Wow,
so you
look
can't
at
ash
this.
this either.
You just pay your bills and your opponent can't ash you. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And then, like the other Joker cards, if this is in your graveyard during the end phase,
It
comes
bounces back.
So, you can Joker's Wild several times in the game. You can really do the grind game almost indefinitely because you just keep throwing everything back.
Now I have a personal question. Just because as another vanilla player myself, why no unexpected die?
Unexpected Die is mainly used in synergy if you have a King's Knight hand. So Unexpected Die and King's Knight is a 2-card combo. And it's just kind of the deck space. I would much
You just don't have the space for it?
I don't have the space for it, and also I'd much rather use that space for something that is either more defensive or something that kind of turbos out the Joker straight as opposed to...
Now, would you recommend maybe playing like 2 copies of Unexpected Die or something if they can't afford like the Dogmatica package?
I think it would be all right.
Because I mean, it gets you to level 4, like you said, and then you can summon the king and just go ahead and go off.
Yeah, and if you have a Joker's Knight in hand and you throw the queen out, that's still an Isolde, so it gets you pretty much...
starts your plays.
step.
Yeah, it gets you going. Okay.
And then on top of that, like... you know, it is a 2-card combo, but it's 2 cards that get you 3 bodies, and it doesn't lock you out of stuff.
And
much,
exactly,
like
and Unexpected Dice is a really, really heavy bait card.
Yes.
You know how many people ask that in my glads? Way too many. Like they should really save it for the rabbit.
This is the bear scary. Don't let the bear come out.
Yeah, don't let the bear. It preys on doll.
Don't let him.
Do not.
This man knows from hours of playtesting, you do not let the bear come out. When the bear comes out, you get the claws.
So, going over into the extra deck, first I'm going to start off with just the Light Warrior package. This is pretty much everything that you can bring off of when you've resolved Joker Straight. So you have your Utopia.
Collector.
You collector. You have your Utopia package. So it's pretty much your win con. Sometimes, not always. A cool thing about all this Joker stuff, coming back to the hand every turn, is that they don't specify returning like a Kings, Queens, or Jacks Knight back to deck. They just say returning a Light Warrior.
Oh, so you can put this back in the extra deck.
Yeah,
well,
so
that's pretty slick shit, ain't it?
Yes, and you can also bring back...
And do it again. You asked my Utopia double, I'll do it again.
We do, since Joker's Knight's a level 5 and Jack's Knight's a level 5, Constellar Pallades.
You play the N7? Oh,
No.
if you had room, you should play him.
M7. You can just drop M7 on top of that, and then put one of your monsters back in your hand.
I experimented with the M7 build, and I also experimented with the Utopic Future build. And the problems that I found with both of those was that if I'm using the Dogmatica engine, I'm typically my deck
Locked out too much to like benefit
out too much to
from
go into
yeah.
an M7.
Gotcha.
Pallades also doesn't stick on board for very long, and I don't want to like use an extra deck space for a situation when I'm kind of in a win more situation. If that makes sense.
I feel that. It's too inconsistent. It's you don't get enough credibility out of playing
and
the
also,
card.
M7 is a machine, so if I Joker Straight during that turn,
You cannot make it.
I can't make M7.
Is he a machine?
It is a machine.
I thought it was a dragon.
So,
It looks like a dragon, doesn't it?
so going on with the Light Warrior package, we have a Heroic Champion Excalibur.
Oh, where'd you get the ulti?
Thanks for the ulti. So, I was going back and forth between Excalibur and Starleash Paladynamo. That was another really old rank 4
That's
card.
a funny old rank 4 card.
But they're pretty much, it's a Light Warrior. This is a 4,000.
It's just to help you kill.
It's just to help you kill. Sometimes it's just something to go into. If you know that like this isn't going to resolve properly, you can just be like, 4,000. Like, you're not going to ash this. You can't ash this.
Exactly. It'll just impermanent instead.
Stays 4,000 until the end of the opponent's turn.
It stays 4,000 to the end of their turn.
Big.
Yeah,
It's still big for your opponent's turn, so they still have to like destroy it or pass their battle phase, like to out it.
Like 4,000 is pretty beefy, and I have used this to just also crash into a Dragoon.
Or just run over the Dragoon if they don't negate it.
They usually have one negate off already, so it's at 4K. So I just crashed.
Man, I've had people just summon Dragoon and completely forget that he negates. I'm like, that's funny.
The last 2 cards in the Light Warrior package is an Isolde, and
Card needs banned.
Arcane Extra Joker.
Ban
So
ban
with
card.
Isolde, we are literally just using Isolde
Ban this
for a search. We're not using.
I love that you play the Arcana Knight, like the actual extra deck monsters too.
I feel like this is like, it's a pure variant with a mixed engine. Like it's so
with
it's like
kind of
pure
small
and mixed.
small packages.
Yeah.
Like so, with the Isolde, like it's. If you pretty much get your Joker straight off and you don't have Joker's Knight in your hand yet, use this to search your Joker's Knight. So then you're ready to go next turn.
Okay.
The Arcane Extra Joker, it's targeted protection for itself and everything that it points to. So in the extra monster zone, if you're trying to set up, like for example, your OTK, you do everything in one of those zones that it points to because he will protect it from one targeted removal.
Now he's a Link 3. Mm-hmm. Would you like maybe consider playing it something else, like maybe a unicorn or something, or do you just play it because it's a like it just adds to the whole poker theme of the deck?
Light Warrior. You're locked into Light Warrior pretty frequently.
So it's also there to have like just kind of like a link climb.
Yep, pretty much. Off the Joker straight, since you get 3
Hi,
bodies. Off the Joker straight, since you get 3 buys, you can just go into him and he's just there. So
Okay.
here is the Dogmatica package, 2 Entis, 1
One
Titanic
Ash Dragon.
I feel like I don't really have to explain that. If you know Dogmatica, you know what it does.
Yep.
Extra removal and a search. So here's what goes with that instant fusion. Because it looks
spiciness.
So this was something that I tinkered with briefly, and it actually ended up being pretty good. So once you get Joker Knight active, you kind of have Joker Knight on your board every turn because you're dropping it every turn. So Joker Knight, and then your instant fusion into Sea Monster of, what was it, Thesis? The Aces?
Something like that.
So this leads to a Ultimate Zulkin, and then we set a lot of stuff because we run spells and we run droplets and everything, so then we get our crystal. We only run the one target. It's just so it's a free, like a free negate, free monster negate. It stops the hand traps. It stops like monster effects that are going to be attempting to try to break the board.
It's
So the crystal, it's just the one target just to
that's
put this
pretty
on board.
interesting. So if you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, you don't necessarily need it.
It's like, think of it this way, like, because since Joker Knight gets into your hand and stays in your hand pretty regularly, the second you draw an instant fusion, look at that instant fusion as
a crystal wing. Okay.
Because it's so free. So you can do all that and then do your Joker straight afterwards, and they definitely can't stop it at that point. So, and then the last two cards, we run one Artifact Dagda, which we'll get into the side deck here briefly, and then a BLS. Because Fleur de Lis drops itself, and because this also drops itself, we end up having some level 8 monsters to actually put on board. Unfortunately, he is an Earth Warrior, so sometimes he's a little bit trickier to put out. There's even a lot of times where he's really just used as Dogmatica fodder.
It's just a send to have something like to out a 3K monster or higher.
Yeah, pretty
lower.
So he's easily subbable. It's a very, very obvious flex spot. I'm just playing this card because I can actually put it on board and because I have it in Ghost Rare. I'm gonna be real with you.
You're just flexing. He's just flexing.
Ghost Rare.
So, lastly, getting into the side deck, we play 3 Twin Twisters for back row heavy decks.
Pretty standard.
The reason why we play Twisters over Cyclone is that we want to get our stuff to graveyard so I can come back. So discard fodder is free.
Well, I mean, it's free anyway because it all recurs. So even if you use it, it'll come back at end phase for you to have something for Twin Twisters.
Absolutely. Then we play 2 Gandharla because I just don't want to get locked out of my deck.
This man still thinks Tri Brigades play the barrier statue. It's okay.
I don't want to be caught slipping.
They don't. The deck is too represented for them to play that card. There's no point in making it in the mirror match.
3 Droll and Lockbird because
Drytron.
we kind of want to bring the opponent down to our speed.
And Rogue, yeah. So it slows down other Rogue decks and Drytron to help them play at a slower pace.
We play 3 Evenly Match.
Card is too good right now.
I feel
so
like
underrated.
I feel like when I
think
played
it's
this
very
card,
good.
I sided in almost every match. Because if I know I'm going second, then it's like, yeah.
I think it's a really good just interruption card in general. I've always had a love for Evenly, and yes, most of it is because the Glads can chain and tag out in battle phase. So you can tag the Glad out, chain Evenly, and still wipe the board.
There's also something really nice about using a Prosperity to search an Evenly. Because the opponent sees it coming.
They're like, fuck, he has it.
Yeah.
You know what's even funnier is when you search it like that and you don't activate it. So, like, when they in their battle phase, if they don't kill you, they're losing their board.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hilarious. They just know it's up there. They're like, well, I'm just not going to make a very big board then because he's just going to evenly me at the end of my battle phase.
And also why Prosperity is so good is because it lets you see your extra deck, your side deck cards that you need to win.
Because it helps you dig 4 cards deeper than extra.
Yep.
And then the last 4 cards in the side deck is an artifact package. So, here was the reasoning for an artifact package.
I was going to ask, why the Morale Tech instead of the Third Sanctum?
The Morale Tech is a Dagda target.
I was going to say, is it mostly because you're playing Dagda, that's why you don't play the Third Sanctum?
Yep.
Okay, so you guarantee this is like your third essentially copy of this.
Yes. And also, Dagda sets and it pops during the opponent's end phase, so Scythe is not useful during the end phase. But Morale Tech
is. It's a free pop and it's a free body too.
So what I typically do is when I am, like, say with the die roll, because I don't know who's going first, we'll keep the side frames in the main deck because they're good going first or going second.
But you normally side them out for the artifact package.
If I know I'm going first, so say I lose like round 1 and I get to choose, I'm siding in this because locking you out of the extra deck is great.
Very, very good.
And then I can Utopia Kill You the following.
Because like Prank Kids can't play without the extra deck. Drytron can, but it's not optimal. They can mostly end on the Herald, I believe, of Ultimateness, or the Dawn Herald, or whatever, the one that gave spells and traps. Whatever variant they're playing. And then they do have the big monster in the main deck. Everybody forgets about him. I call him the Conductor Killer because he's a big dude.
He's 4K.
He's 4K. He can't be. I think he can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. One of the two.
By monster effects.
By monster effects. Okay, yeah.
Specific monster.
So he's just a big annoying guy. Like and he can attack all special summon monsters, I believe. Something like that. He's quite a guy.
So the side deck package was very fine tuned. I was running this in the main deck initially, but I found that if I lost a die roll, this was typically pretty bad.
It's a dead engine.
So I moved it to the side and swapped it for Gammas just to have that additional protection, and then also to have the ability to side in a blowout card that people aren't prepared for.
Now, most times, the only time I think a Scythe is coming is when you beat Dinos and they choose to go first. That's literally the only time I think a Scythe is coming, because they're going to Scythe you because it's them going first. They don't.
The other thing is that right now I see a lot of like Lightning Storm. Since Lightning Storm recently got the reprint, it's pretty active in the meta. So this is kind of like punishing the opponent for running back row hate going into games 2 and 3. Like, oh, you want to run back row hate? Well, you can't summon.
Yeah, just punish them for punishing you.
Or pop a card.
Or Sanctum.
That's because Moraltech doesn't target, does he? He
does target.
He does? He does? Okay.
So it's just a targeted pop, which
and that's a pretty
strong.
good budget little engine too to play. The artifact engine is not really like all that expensive.
Oh, it's all together. I think like the Ultra Sanctums are like $1, $2. Moraltech is like 50 cents, and then a Scythe is $2. Actually, what's funny is that the Ultra is less than the Super. The Super's $3.
That's because the Super, I think, was the original. Was it the original print? Yeah.
I've recently got an Ultra, and I was surprised I realized that it was cheaper. So that's it for my Poker Night deck profile. If you end up giving some things a thought or end up playtesting it, let me know how it works for you.
Leave a comment. Yeah, like let us know. I can always get a hold of him and send the info over.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any shout outs then before we end this?
I'm gonna shout out myself. You should follow my Twitter, and you should also follow my Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. It's Set 5 Podcast, available wherever you get podcasts. In addition, you can follow the Twitter. It's just at Set 5 Podcast. And then shout out to my team. It is Number Hunters. Got some little stickers and merch over here. Shout out to the Mishawaka Store Rivals for being...
This is the best shop.
Being pretty much the shop
in the
Midwest right now.
It is the shop. I mean, I've lived in Florida. I played at shops down there all over. I've been to a lot of regionals and everything. I still think it's solid. Like, it has got to be one of the best environments, and Dan is fantastic,
It's a good card game community.
And Dan the man.
Which is a big thing to say for Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's be real.
Yeah, it is. A children's card game is too expensive for children to play.
You're right. You're right on that one.
Oh, all right.
All right.
We're good.
Peace out, guys.